is the North End. This is the North End.
What is up, North Enders? Aizaz coming at you from the Middle East, from Doha, from Qatar, from the World Cup. I'm excited to share some little tidbits of my observation so far and how I feel my experience has been. Sorry for a little interference. A couple of other fans decided to have a really loud conversation there, but I'm at my villa pool right now, and I feel like this is the best place to actually film this content. So let's see how the audio is, and I can move for maybe recording another video later on. So yeah, where do I start? Firstly, I have to say my experience has been a bit weird because I have been disconnected a little bit. So I've been bugging my brother to post on my accounts via his iPhone, because my iPhone decided to do this thing called the black screen, which basically meant I was without a phone for about 2 days. Main communications device, of course my main recording device, so all a bit annoying and inconvenient, but I digress. Overall, the experience so far has been fantastic, very welcoming place. Anybody who's here is having quite a similar experience. I've met up with obviously a bunch of Canadians who are here for all the Canada festivities. But yeah, like, as well as being welcoming, it is a very, very, very slick operation. One thing I don't like is I feel like the people who are working here, if they don't know the answer to your question, they feel like they need to give you an answer, so they just start pointing you direction. I'm mainly talking about directions here, but even if they don't know, they just kind of like point in a particular direction. Other than that, I have to say, like, it's been a very slick and welcoming experience. It's stunning, firstly, particularly the stadiums and the areas around that. You know, I know that there has been a lot made of constructing a whole new place altogether for this tournament. But then, you know, speaking to a couple of locals, the way they see it is they've lived here for a while, and the regeneration project for them was apparently always going to happen, and the World Cup just accelerated certain things. Of course, I don't know if they needed all these stadiums, but that's probably a topic for another conversation. So on the very first day, we went to the Lusail Stadium, which is the masterpiece. So it's all down from here, Aizaz, I have to say. No, but seriously, that first stadium, the Lusail Stadium, is the crown jewel. It's this golden bowl, I would say, of absolute impeccable like look and feel, really, and everything about it is very, very bougie and very upmarket. You see it the minute you get off from the Lusail metro station, which we had to do to actually even check in on that first day. So basically we had to get to Lusail Stadium's metro station the first time and get a transfer to our place. And then we were back at Lusail for Argentina versus Mexico. Now, Argentina versus Mexico was an absolute vibe. I'm wearing the Mexico shirt at the moment. On the night I wore Argentinian colors because that's the section we were in. But I have to say, so far from the 3 games, the carnival atmosphere brought to you by both the Argentinians and the Mexicans was second to none. Poor game though. The only real moments were the 2 goals. Leo Messi was decent throughout the game. It felt like the other Argentinian players were really on his wavelength. I don't know if I need to microanalyze the games too much. I know there's loads of this stuff out there for the matches itself. But I have to say that when the goal went in, when Messi's goal went in, I've not seen an eruption like that for a very long time. Certainly not in Canada, but even you know, some of the Premier League games, I'm fortunate enough to get to quite a few every season apart from the COVID years, and even despite supporting a team that's been winning trophies and winning quite a bit, that collective relief and that collective vibe was something that is immeasurable on compared to other sporting experiences. So that was day 1. Highly enjoyed it despite a pretty dismal first half. You know, the stadium and the whole atmosphere brought by the two teams was something that was really, really special. Then on day two, we went to another huge game, but before we did that, we did the march with the Canadians from the metro station that was near the game, the Canada-Croatia game, all the way to, we marched to the stadium, and then, you know, met up with a bunch of friends, and just for my group, we just were able to get into the bunch of the festivities. Three of us do live in Canada, two are born Canadians. I'm a Canadian citizen, and definitely very proud of the Canadian national team. And my brother, you know, he's a Brit and has lived in England his whole life, and was very much supportive of what was happening, because there was moments where I was like a little bit skeptical, like are the Brits going to view this as a little bit like Canada's, it's a bit of a token, you know, like we're at a tournament, but not really. You know, from every British person we have spoken to, from every other fan, everybody's really excited about the Canadian edition at the top table, so to speak. So then we finally went to Germany v Spain, and while the game was a bit better, Spain certainly technically played some of that tiki-taka. Great to see Pedri and Gavi in real life, but as always, I feel like they lacked a little bit of that killer edge. Wasn't too impressed with the way they played across the front three, actually. So Asensio, yeah, just not really quite as slick as Spain of years gone by. How could they be with some of the legendary squads we've seen? But you know, they were coming off the back of a pretty big first game win, so wasn't really enamored with their performance. It was okay. Germany were really flat and very much gave Spain the onus, but in the end they got their result. Their thing was to not lose. The stadium was, again, I think I said it earlier, Lusail was the crown jewel, so the stadium was very cool itself, but not anything quite you know, groundbreaking. It wasn't something where you go to the stadium and you're seeing something that you wouldn't see anywhere else. Lusail Stadium, I have to say, is probably one of the most unique things I've ever seen. And then speaking of unique stadiums, yesterday our game was Brazil versus Switzerland. Now, talking about vibe, 80 to 90% of the stadium was in yellow yesterday. Again, a very cool experience. I definitely feel spoiled with the games we got, and Brazil, at least the fans did not disappoint. The team, on the other hand, I'm not sure if the hype justifies what I saw yesterday. You know, I think if many of you know me personally, you know I'm a big kit collector, so you know, I was rolling yesterday with people in shirts with names such as even Neymar, but also Ronaldinho and Ronaldo. I don't think that the attacking players this time round are, sorry Brian, are anywhere near that quality or that standard. I felt like Brazil were quite disjointed coming forward. The midfield play was good. Props to another one of the North End team's players, Casemiro. Definitely not just the winning goal scorer, but actually did look a class apart on the rest of the pitch. But otherwise, you know, Brazil were generally always in charge. Switzerland had a couple of counter-attacks. They weren't really posing too much of a threat. But first Vinicius scored and the goal was ruled out for offside by VAR. And that was a party that went really flat really quickly. And then right after that, I have to say that the whole Brazil scoring the second goal, Casemiro with a beautiful volley, really took the roof off the place. Now that stadium was very unique because it was made from upcycled shipping containers, and I could share a couple of pictures of that as well. Now that my phone's back as well, by the way, I am going to log into the North End Instagram, so I'll post a couple of my things from the last couple of days, and then I'll also end up posting a few things along the way as well. But that stadium was really cool. The stadium's called 974, Stadium 974. Google it and have a look. I believe it's because it's actually on the old shipping yard, but I'm not fact check that, so I'm not 100% sure. But they were upcycled shipping containers that have been repurposed for a lot of the stadium, and it was just a very, very cool look. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll try and check in at least one more time before I leave, and I can do a wrap-up video when I'm home as well. As always, please like, share, subscribe. My own feed as well is the Cultures on Instagram. I'm sharing the tidbits there as well. But otherwise, I will speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye.
This is the North End.